Hi everyone, welcome back to yet another new video. Today I'm actually going over the first 3 episodes of Gundam GQuuuuuux. I know I'm a little bit late to it, but well, better late than never. And right off the bat, Gundam GQuuuuuux has gotten off to a very, very good start in the first 3 episodes. Yeah, it's a very strong start for the new Gundam anime. I'm not saying that because I like Gundam, I'm saying this because it actually has gotten off to a very strong start. First of all, we have the actual idea of the fact of what if Zeon won the 1 Year War with a Zeonized assault landing ship, more specifically a Zeonized version of the Pegasus class. So that's white base. And we've seen the Zaku 2 is basically just everywhere. In the first episode we see the so-called clan battle, and also at the same time we see on screen the Char version of a Gundam, painted red of course, just like Char would. And of course it has a couple of remote weapon systems. The other thing I like about, I think, episode 1 as a whole, is just the fact, well, one, Charlie Bull is alive, and the diversity of Zeon uniforms. What we also think I like about it as well is the fact that the Zaku 2 is everywhere. So Side 6 use them as part of their military police force. I think possibly the fact of one, policing the constant mobile suit battles seem to be taking place, and at the same time also to keep the mobile suits in line and go as a defense against potential Zeon aggression. Although Zeon at this point does not seem to be doing much in the way of aggressive acts. The other thing I really like about the whole, that we introduced the main character and how she gets involved in the actual storyline, more specifically with the box that allows a mobile suit to be weaponized. Yes, the fact it's what looks like a hard disk drive that enables a mobile suit to use weapons, and it's contraband as well. That is actually an excellent idea. Also, I think for a fact as well, the fact the new Gundam design, I mean, it's definitely an interesting take. And I think the fact of it actually being built in the way it does, plus the fact of it being partway controlled by the psychometer system, makes a lot of sense. Particularly, it also uses the fact that Zeon itself is experimenting with a panoramic linear seat style cockpit, or at the very least expanding the pilot's field of view, all the more important in situational awareness. I think also the fun fact as well, the fact, yes, after the 1 Year War, there is a huge amount of refugees from displaced from everywhere because of the war. And the fact that Side 6, at least in one colony, has a side colonial slum full of refugees. And yeah, some members of Side 6 don't really treat these refugees all that well. With 2 of the police officers ripping off the roofs of buildings to try and find the new Gundam, which I think is actually quite good. The other thing as well I found quite interesting is the fact that, yes, Char's RX-78-2 is painted red in Char's personal colours. Episode 2 ironically explains how Zeon won the 1 Year War. In this case, instead of armour getting to the cockpit of the Gundam, it's Char. And in this case, Char himself leads the reconnaissance mission and decides to start shooting at the Federation base. I'm not sure why he would do that, but he just does it anyway. Bearing in mind in the original anime, Char typically prefers to err on the side of caution. Experience has told him for a fact that this is a reconnaissance mission, therefore I should be careful and exercise supreme discretion. And he often decides discretion is the better part of valour. But in this case, he pretty much goes, I'm going for the glory again. And we all see the gun cannon, or at least version of it. And I think, yeah, the Evangelion designs are even more pronounced with the original Gundam, and the gun cannon, and roughly the Dash 1. But we also then see as well, and one of its better moments, is just the fact of, with Char the controls of the Gundam, he does quite a fair bit. I mean, even replicate the iconic shot of when Amuro stabs a Zaku through the cockpit. And this gun cannon has 2 beam cannons mounted on its back, and yeah, they're quite powerful, with one of the Zakus being deployed, taking heavy damage from just the shot. If that had been a direct hit, he would have destroyed the Zaku 2 outright. The other thing I really liked about episode 2 as well, the fact that Char realised that Gundam is very, very powerful. And he realises the beam rifle does have the power of a battleship main gun. And even explains how Zeon won the 1 Year War as well. Once they had access to the Gundam's technology, the Federation sent to push forward with a mass-produced version of the gun cannon. Not the Jim, which basically I think was one of the factors that allowed them to win the 1 Year War. After all, they did lose probably both Gundam prototypes in the ensuing skirmish. The other thing it does explain quite well is the fact of Char has the psychometer system outfitted to the Gundam, and he does initially, well, it goes initially well, but Then, of course, during the second Battle of Solar Winds, the Federation gets desperate and plans to drop Solomon onto Granada, thereby crushing the Zeon defense line and pushing forward. It doesn't go well, and Char basically has a so-called Sen Nova effect, which basically partially, I think, makes him disappear along with the Gundam and part of a third of Solomon, and then Solomon somehow just ends up getting knocked off course by the forces involved, and at the same time, using a large fleet, M'Quve attacks Luna 2 and basically, I think, drives the Federation off. So the Earth Federation decides to sue for peace, thereby winning Zeon the 1 Year War. And in episode 3, things really start getting interesting. In episode 1, Machu, who is our main protagonist, gets into the Gundam, and gets a Heat Hawk and defeats a couple of Zaku's. In this battle, she fights a clan battle, and initially does not go well at all. But then, she has the whole new type psychedelic effect. And in this case, thanks to the help of, I think, one of the weirdest Gundam cast member characters I've ever seen, who says, time to fight is Gundam, who someone ends up piloting Char's Red Gundam. So Char is out there somewhere, I think, because this boy somehow got his hands on it. And in this case, by him using his new type powers, they link up together, and they manage to pull off quite the win. Literally, and we know without that Machu is a new type off the outset. As someone, she was able to predict the trajectory of a Heat Hawk, and uses that to actually hit one of her opponent's Zaku's in the head, and then at the same time, by clever maneuvering, she then gets the second victory, thereby winning the clan battle. Yeah. Gundam GQuuuuux has certainly gone after a very strong start in the first 3 episodes. It's been a very, very, very good run, all things considered. I'm just waiting for the next one, because apparently we're going to be seeing the Gundam GQuuuuux version of the gym, apparently, in the next episode. But beyond that, what we're getting, I think, looks quite good. Okay, it might not be beautiful, but the animation style, I think, is unique. And the Evangelion references in the Gundams and every other stuff is just throughout the show. It's brilliant. And we even actually see how the Vulcan guns actually work, which just makes it all the more better. Yeah, Gundam GQuuuuux, or Gundam GQuuuuux, has proven to be, I think, one of the better Gundam animes, and also at the same time, one of its strongest outings yet, but time will tell. I've been the Esoteric, so you can please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheerio!